Dr. James JC Cooley. That's right. Let's go. It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James JC Cooley. All right.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer.
Yeah. Dr. James JC Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. Yeah.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley. And wow, we got an exciting show coming your way today. As technology evolves, you have to have geniuses out there that are able to create and keep up and also adapt to the changing environment, the changing situation, the changes. I'm talking to AI. Oh, yeah. Talking AI. And but we got this guest been on the show probably 10, 11 times. And every time I see this young man, doing great things, it just inspires me to know that he's doing these things and there are potential others out there can be just like this young man. But Michelle, I'm not going to give it away. I know you're looking at me funny, like I'm going to give away the title and everything. I'm not going to do it. How you doing, Dr. Cooley?
I'm doing good. Just kind of winding down from our crazy weeks of travel. One day we're going to wake up in a hotel like, okay, what city are we in now?
I do that every now and then. We've been to Dubai, New Orleans, and in 6 days we're in California, and I don't know where we're going from there, but I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Yeah, so
Well,
how your day
unlike
going
the
so
guest
far?
we have on today, like you said, he's practically family, and we love having him on. And audience, ask questions, whatever platform you are watching the show on, over 80 live streaming platforms. And whatever platform you're watching the show, participate, join in the conversation, provide questions, provide comments, and we will get the answer to the yes for you.
Yeah, so if you're watching us on E36 Television, Transfer TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Rumble, and just like Michelle said, and over 80 other platforms, welcome to the show. Now, in order to ask questions, all you have to do is go to the comments on whichever platform that you're watching us on. Ask any questions that you might have. I promise you, we'll get your answer. Michelle, can you please introduce the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and this absolutely sensational guest?
Most definitely. The title of today's show is called AI and Accessibility, and we're having a conversation with Jordan Colbert. He's an assistive technology professional, author, a published audiobook producer, and the president of A-Team Professional Consulting. He's going to talk about, first of all, introduce what accessibility really is. He's going to talk about AI and accessibility in education, AI accessibility in the workplace. So again, Jordan Colbert, he's the president of A-Team Professional Consultant and is a champion for inclusivity and a certified professional in accessibility core competencies from the International Association of Accessibility Professionals. He hails from outside Atlantic City, New Jersey. He proudly identifies as biracial, first generation, and low-income graduate. His journey from receiving his BA in classical studies from the University of Pennsylvania to a master's of marriage and family therapy from the University of Southern California, USC. It is a testament to his determination and hard work. He began his career in accessibility services at USC in 2015, providing crucial academic accommodations to students with disabilities. Before his work in accessibility, he served as a psychotherapist with high school students and provided cognitive behavioral therapy to substance abuse populations. His achievements include producing 3 audiobooks and contributing to the #1 Amazon bestseller book, A Black Man's Point of View. Welcome back to the show, Jordan Colbert.
Hello. Thank you, Michelle. That was a great introduction.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. We're hanging in there. It's the weather's starting to get good out here in Connecticut, so it's there's a lot to be thankful for.
Wow, it's always a pleasure having you on. And just like Michelle said, you produced my audiobook, A Black Man, not Black Man Point of View, but you was part of that as well. But
Part of it all.
Country boy, city boy journey that ain't over yet. Bestseller. You produced that, and man, you made sure it was perfect. All of those. Hey, do this chapter right here. Did you get? No. Let me do it again. Man, I loved it. I was mad in the beginning, man, but we turned out a great product, just like everything else that you do. So Jordan, can you tell our audience that might have not seen you on the show before a little bit about you, what make you so interested in psychology and other things that you do?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So, as Michelle said, I come from outside of Atlantic City, New Jersey. And as I was growing up, mental health and substance abuse and all other kind of situations were really around me. And growing up in that type of environment, you almost you get a little bit normalized to it, and you think, this is what life is. This is what life is. And as I went through school and my young adulthood and everything, I really got to realize, no, this is an area where people can get help for. And a lot of the behaviors and stuff that I grew up thinking were normal were actually things that people were dealing with and could get help, but just didn't know how to. And so as I was kind of really reflecting on my life once I graduated college, I realized that, the best way that I could help people would really be to use that expertise and to sit back and sit with them and think about it. And so I also did a lot of volunteering as I was growing up, just seeing different populations, seeing the struggles that people really went through, and knowing that this isn't how life has to be. And sometimes just having somebody listen means a lot. And so I really wanted to get into psychology and doing therapy. But, that path kind of continued and allowed me to platform and project myself into a bunch of different fields, because knowing how people's mind works is a very, very useful skill.
It is. And knowing how the mind work and understanding the issues and concerns that many have help lead us into trying to figure out solutions. So Jordan, how did that lead you into the field of disability and accessibility, where I know you're doing so many things and you're doing lectures and all those great things to educate others on this field, especially using AI?
Yeah. So with doing all of the stuff in psychology and doing the therapy, I really started to recognize that, it wasn't always the person that was really the thing that was causing so many difficulties. Now, it may have been their choices, but the circumstances and the systems around them was what really put them in that place to make that decision with less information than needed. And so while I was in graduate school, I needed a job because we all need to get paid at some point, even when we're students. I was working in the Disability Services Office for USC. And I was recognizing that students with disabilities, they do need support and accommodations to make sure it's level for everybody across the board. And so when I was thinking about that, doing the therapy one-on-one with people who had mental health disabilities, such as depression, substance abuse, those kind of things, I was really thinking about what kind of supports exist in the system. And I loved it. I loved learning about the people and guiding them towards resources. But in reality, what I wanted to do was make a much bigger change in that field and make a change for supporting people. And I knew that if I stayed in the higher education world to provide accommodations to level out the playing field, I would actually be creating the next level of leaders. And the next level of leaders with visibility as a person with a disability shows that others can do things with a disability. And it really does make the whole system more rich and better for everybody to live in, and gives everybody the appropriately equal opportunity. Because disabilities in some cases without the appropriate accommodations definitely can hold people back from economic opportunities, employment opportunities, educational opportunities. So I really wanted to make that change to the system.
We've got 2 minutes before the break, but for people out there that do not know what disability and accessibility means, what would you tell them?
Well, I would say disability is anything that really affects a person's day-to-day life. And so if it's a diagnosis by a medical condition, whether that's chronic health, you broke your arm, mental health disabilities, depression, anxiety, all kinds of things there, or, sensory stuff like blindness or deaf of hearing, all kinds of things in that realm would fall under something that is considered a disability. And accessibility is actually the spectrum of ways that people with disabilities can get to or experience or engage with at the same level as somebody without a disability. And so a brief example of that is thinking about like curb cuts. Without curb cuts, people who are in wheelchairs or who may use a cane may not be able to use the sidewalk the same way.
Okay, I tell you what, that was a great definition. We're going to take a station break. When we come back, Dr. Michelle Cooley is going to take over pretty much the next segment. So I'll tell you, if you want to be part of this conversation, All you have to do is just go to the platform that you're watching us on, go to the comments. Ask any question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
Doctor James, JC, Cooley, the James Cooley Show. It's your life.
Welcome to Veridian Christian University, where faith and learning come together to transform lives. At VCU, we believe that education is more than just academics. It's about fostering a community of growth, integrity, and purpose. Whether you're pursuing a bachelor's, master's, or doctorate, VCU offers flexible, affordable, and 100% online degree programs that cater to your busy life. Our innovative platform provides a personalized learning experience, empowering you to thrive in today's ever-evolving world. Join a global community of learners guided by an experienced faculty who are committed to your success. With VCU, you're not just earning a degree, you're preparing for a future that integrates faith, leadership, and service. Veridian Christian University, educating with purpose, transforming lives. Learn more at VeridianChristianUniversity.com. VeridianChristianUniversity.com.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
Check it out. It's Dr. JC Cooley. Hey, let's go. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I really enjoyed segment number one. This young man, just like I always tell you, he's a genius, and helping people out is the thing that he does. Comes from the bottom of his heart. Just like I say, he's a man that wears many hats, and we're gonna get into some of those hats in a few minutes. So I tell you, if you want to be part of this conversation, just come to the platform you're watching us on. Ask any questions that you might have. I promise you will get you an answer. Yes, your life. Michelle, you got it.
Yes, Jordan. So can you tell the audience about how accessibility, how is that related to education?
Yeah, that's a great question, because accessibility is generally, you can relate it to any field. And in many cases, people don't think about it in education, but it's very, very important in the sense of special education programs, special education programming through K through 12, but also accommodations for disability services in higher education. And so what that really means is making it so that students are able to get the educational opportunity that everyone else in the school, students with disabilities can get the same level of educational access as everyone else. So that's including being able to access the curriculum, whether that's, digital documents, being able to have extended time on an exam because of the way their disability may affect just their speed and their focus and concentration. But it can be in all areas, including campus life, including, in the elementary and high school systems. It's a little bit different than higher education because you can do a lot of curriculum management in that case to tailor it to the educational level based off of the disability. So, that may be people with intellectual disabilities. who do need some of the curriculum modified. So it plays a big part in all areas of education and the learning process.
Wow. So, of course, everyone has heard of AI, artificial intelligence. But can you explain to our listeners, before we go deep into AI and accessibility in education, can you kind of explain to our listeners who may not know what is really considered AI?
Yeah, it's an expansive field, I'll be honest. So, if you're just looking at the definition, AI is any computer system that is able to perform tasks, actions that humans normally need to do with a human based action. So that's things like speech or ability to perceive something or answer questions and kind of pull from that as if it was an actual intelligent system. And so there are many things that we've had that are AI over the last decades that people haven't really recognized. So it started to come out, but Siri is AI. Siri was early versions of AI. There was a lot of other AI tools, whether that's Google, like the Google Home, things like that. But then there's also been AI in many computer programs that people have been using, whether it's, stuff that will read the computer program out to you on the screen. There's other AIs that may work in, chatbots. And those things have been around for a while. So just thinking about AI almost as any computer system or technology system that can do something that a human would normally have to think about to do.
Most definitely. I love AI.
It's great.
So, so you wrote a chapter of a publication about AI in education. Can you tell the audience a little bit about this, what you wrote, and why did you write it?
Yeah, so it was published back in February, but I wrote a chapter for Teach Access under their publication of Every Learner Everywhere on AI and accessibility just in the educational systems and ways that it can be helpful not only to the students in the classroom, but also things to consider with it. So that can be many different ethical areas, such as academic integrity and things like that, which we hear about a lot. Or it could be in areas of the classroom, utilizing certain technologies to help out with certain disabilities and just kind of process some information. There's also systemic aspects of AI that can be very helpful, even for teachers, for other people, administrators who need to do specific, tasks or who need to have students engage with them. And the AI has different impacts on whether that person has a disability or not, and how that may play out in the AI's perception. And it was great.
So, as an assistive technology professional, can you discuss how AI is being used for educational accessibility? But that's like a part A question, but part two is, have there been any challenges using that in the educational accessibility using AI?
Yeah, there is many ways that it's being used right now. So I mentioned this a little bit, but like in the classroom, students are utilizing different AI tools to synthesize information. So there are some tools out there, such as one called JamWorks AI, which will utilize audio recordings or a video recording and can give summaries, breaking it down into highlights, being able to quiz yourself with that. So that gives you a way to not only engage with the material. So say you're having difficulty in the classroom, either following along with the professor, maybe they're going too fast. Maybe, you're only really able to listen or write, and you have to choose which one of those. And so this gives you the opportunity to make sure you're getting the information from the classroom as needed. But there's definitely other areas where it's used, such as reading documents to a person. It's also utilized in like things like career services to help students with really understand, like, okay, what kind of behaviors need to, like, can I get feedback on my ability to present? and AI is included in that. We see that actually in like Microsoft Office, PowerPoint, those kind of things like that. And it's really been helpful. Now, there are challenges with it though, because some AI, there's ethical challenges of, okay, if somebody has a disability and they need to use this, how much information should others know about things being recorded? So that's a legal kind of brush up between two laws of the Americans with Disabilities Act, but also, recording and privacy laws there. So there's questions that come up in that sense. There's also questions that come up, like I mentioned, with career services about things like facial recognition technology or movements. So a person who may have a tic disorder, if they're using this type of technology to get feedback on their presentation in interviews, a tic may make it seem like they're fidgeting too much or they're not engaged. Or it could be that, like individuals with autism, they may not have the same level of eye contact. And that may be something that the rehearsal AI kind of picks up. So there's the pluses and minuses, and it really is a complicated system to try and navigate all of these. Usually it's a case-by-case basis, and AI is not really you're not able to kind of mass cover all of those things in one specific product.
Well, Jordan, are there ways that AI can help increase accessibility outside, just beyond the classroom? Besides the classroom learning? For instance, is there a way teachers or the administrators could use AI to help with the daily functioning of the school itself?
Yeah, that's a big area as well that is being developed. So a lot of different companies who manage like business practices and things like that have tools that can really help. And so that can help on the administrative side of just kind of like doing daily tasks. Okay, organizing emails that have come through, prioritizing them, also grouping them, or even having automatic responses. Now, when we think about the classroom with things like for faculty members or teachers in the classroom, there's also ways that AI can be used to create lesson planning. As long as you're putting in the appropriate material, it can create a lesson plan for you. Actually, at the University of Pennsylvania at Wharton, a professor used this to create his whole class, his whole slide deck. The entire class was used using ChatGPT. And that was one of the early adopters of it to see, okay, wow, this is incredible. But there also are other aspects where, it helps the professor grade, or it can respond to questions and help with things like office hours scheduling. So there's a lot of different applications across the board that may not have been intended for education, but work well in the educational structure.
I'm all for advancements in technology. I guess my question to you, and what is your opinion? Do you feel like besides the amazing things that AI can do, especially with education accessibility combined, do you feel like, I'll give you an example. Lesson plan that the professor can use, can use ChatGPT. Do you feel like the personal touch is being lost instead of relying completely on AI? Just your thoughts about that.
That's a very interesting problem that we're running into now. It's a great problem to have, but it's an interesting problem that we're running into because it's almost as if questioning that aspect of like, are we still doing the things that we're supposed to be doing? Or what's our purpose if AI is doing all of these things and it can kind of be, structuralized and not personalized? Like, who cares who's the professor then, as long as, AI can do this? When in reality, what AI is supposed to be a tool that you use. So the person has to come up with all the information to put into it, and then the AI organizes it. But it's also not supposed to take the place of you doing the work. It's almost like it's supposed to make that work easier. So after you put in everything that you do, it is important that you look through it and make sure that you then adjust things, because the information is being pulled from all sorts of topics, all sorts of internet searches, and not everything on the internet is correct. So that's one thing that we always have to think about, is like, if you just threw it in there and said, oh, I'm done, that's it, people will actually see like wrong information. They may see information that doesn't make sense in the context. And so it's important to really try and balance that, of making sure you're not just giving everything to the AI and saying it's all the AI. You're still engaged and you're still the active initiator of all of this.
I totally agree with it. I know we have to get ready to break, but when you were talking and you mentioned, professors, et cetera, I just thought about that movie Megan. I don't know if you ever seen that, about that doll.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that?
I've seen it.
How it's great, but you got to be careful because I just think it's great on all levels, but you do have to have some accountability on the output of the information that you put in and make sure it is actually correct according to what you want it to do.
Yes.
I think AI I'm to my chat, GPT is great. So I asked Chat GPT to do an outline of one of my books, and it hit it to the T. I'm talking about, I think that took about 15 seconds. And it had a whole outline, teaching curriculum, everything, if I wanted to teach on that. And most of the information, since it read the book in 10 seconds or something like that, it was great. Tell you what, we're going to take a station break. But this is so interesting. We're going to come back. We got a lot more, Jordan. And if you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is just go to the platform that you're watching this on, and comments-wise, ask any questions that you might have. Promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
A Black Man's Point of View is the newest Amazon.com #1 release and bestseller book from author Dr. James J.C. Cooley, featuring the perspective from 11 other contributing authors. In A Black Man's Point of View, Dr. James Cooley unpacks his thoughts and personal experiences about the challenges, stereotypes, and feelings of self-worth that many black men face today due to a 400-year ancestry rooted in slavery and colonization. Yet, how so many black men move forward despite this history. Most importantly, A Black Man's Point of View conveys that all men, regardless of race, creed, or color, are capable of love, respect, and dignity. Described as a map to a greater life from the heart of a man who's experienced life's misfortune and harsh conditions, James shows us how beliefs, convictions, and a healthy mentality can help propel a life worth living. A must-read for all. Order your copy of A Black Man's Point of View by author Dr. James J.C. Cooley today from Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Life is filled with circles and cycles, phases and stages that shape who we are. These moments define us, and we have the choice to either accept or embrace them. Hello, I'm Dr. Michelle Cooley, and I encourage you to support the J.C. Cooley Scholarship You Can Award so we can empower high school seniors and college students to believe that they can achieve anything they set their minds to.
Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley, the host of It's Your Life Radio and also founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. With your help through donations to this year's J.C. Cooley Foundation Scholarship Award, we aim to inspire, prepare the next generation of leaders. We kindly ask for your generous support to help bless at least 30 or more future leaders by donating between a minimum of $250 or more. Please consider donating what you can by May 1st and join us in shaping our future leaders of tomorrow. Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and we're having a great discussion with Jordan Colbert. And I tell you, all of this information, especially what we're talking about as it relates to AI and accessibility, is so important. I want to correct one thing. In the commercial, the UCAN scholarships, we originally set the date for donations, hopefully by May 1st, but we extended that because we did not get enough donations. We extended that to May 15th. And so we got almost 3 more days to gather donations so we can bless some students across the country. Texas, California, certainly for sure. So we kindly ask for a donation of at least $250, or if less than that, whatever you can do. And the way you can do it, you can go to CooleyFoundation.org. Again, that's CooleyFoundation.org. Go to the PayPal, and just you can donate that way. So I want to get back to this conversation. Hey, Jordan, that was so important to understand that AI and Chat GPT and other things are great sources for as getting information from and getting a better understanding of what is going on in the world. I'm talking about far as relate to accessibility and disability. And I find Chat GPT a great source of information. So, Jordan, moving away from just the education, can people with disabilities receive accommodations for their jobs?
Yes, a lot of people do not recognize that, but the Americans with Disabilities Act does extend to the workplace. And so in many cases, people are not recognizing that what they're going through may require accommodations, especially, as life happens. You never know. If you break your arm, some people think like, oh, if I break my arm, I'm completely out of my job. Well, it depends on what your job is. And that's really what can help with understanding what's available to you. Because every employer is required to provide equal access to any of their employees. And so whether they have a disability when they're hired or whether they acquire a disability, and they're not allowed to fire you strictly for your disability unless you cannot perform your essential job functions, which that's a key part, because some jobs do require specific things. And in certain cases, it's also, is it an undue burden? And most of the time, neither of those are truly found to be appropriate in these cases. So the disability can be accommodated. And that comes in many, many different ways. There's a lot of flexibility in thinking about how that can be put into place, especially when it doesn't interfere with the essential function. Another thing that people have to think about is in the workplace, if somebody else is able to do something such as like, oh, I can go and get the day excused from my job, not taking paid time off, just getting it excused for, some kind of regular doctor's appointment, just a checkup. A person with disabilities, you can't really say, no, you can't take this day and go to the doctor for your disability while others can, because in that case, that's discrimination.
Wow. What role does the government plays in ensuring that the Disability Act is followed? Because under the current, at least in my opinion, under the current administration, under the current situation, all of these things seem to be thrown out the window.
That is a great question, because in times of a lot of uncertainty around different programs, different experiences based off of what's happening in the world, it does kind of question what is available as a resource. And so the government plays a huge role in this. So there's two aspects. The first one is that the government is the first one that really adopted this, and it was required in 1973 from the Rehabilitation Act that anyone working with the federal government or receiving federal funds had to make their thing accessible to people with disabilities. And so the government set that up for themselves. Now, there are other things that are overseeing and enforcing this now. So there are parts of the government. One is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. They oversee ADA accommodations in the workplace, because it's ultimately an idea of discrimination. If you tell a person with a disability, no, you can't have this, just arbitrarily. Whereas in education, it's through the Office of Civil Rights. They go through the Department of Education. And that may be a big thing about why the Department of Education is significantly important, is because of the way that it does protect students with disabilities and provides funding and support there. And so the government plays a very big role in the lives of people with disabilities, whether that may be through Medicaid as well, or Medicare, or through other specific programs such as like rehabilitation, vocational rehabilitation. And that's another area that hits a lot of people, especially veterans, as they're coming back from overseas experiences. So that's really a great question about this. But the interesting thing with the current situation is that accessibility is something that most people can fully understand, because most people, almost everybody at some point in their life is going to have an interaction with the disability. Whether it's breaking a bone, a family member's getting older, you're getting older, other things that are happening. And so it's something that almost across the board, everybody can say, well, that makes sense that you can't do discrimination against them. Whereas there may be other kind of questions about, is this discrimination? Is this, based off of some other kind of characteristic? But with accessibility, it's very clear cut that the government has said, right as of right now today, that is not something that is included in some of the other funding and area cuts.
Oh, that's important right now. How is AI affecting accessibility in the workspace? Is it beneficial, or do you see it as greatly beneficial, or you see it as potentially taking away jobs? I mean, everybody heard about AI taking away all of, and be quite honest with you, that is what's happening, because in a lot of cases, people are not required. When you got robots, you got this, and you got that. And do you see that's going to be a problem in the near future, where human interaction is not necessary in certain fields? And that's also going to affect the disability and accessibility of a lot of people that might not have a job just because of this. I'm curious about your thoughts. We got about 2 minutes before the break.
Yeah, so addressing the first part about it, it is affecting accessibility in the workplace, very similar to the ways that it's affecting education, but in a different sense, because it's helping people do their jobs as an extension. So if you think about this, you may have a worker who may not have arms because of their disability, whether it's, their arms are broken, or they were born without arms, or they had to lose them. But there are aspects of AI now that could allow for additional ways to manipulate a robotic system to allow it. So you may have seen this in like certain medical situations, but there is now a way to virtually use AI and kind of direct it to do certain things. whether that's surgeries, or finding veins for PICC lines, those kind of things, but also in certain areas of manual labor that may be somewhere where AI can step in and help a person with disabilities who may not have that ability as well, like, lifting something or moving something, or an AI kind of process allowing for that to happen. Now, on the back end of that, does that mean that there will be jobs that are lost? And in some cases, it's just about pivoting to figuring out how to be with AI and what that means. So if AI is taking these workplace jobs, there needs to be a way to make it so the people who are being displaced from their jobs are able to interact with the AI and continue to make that in a functional way a job. So maybe that's training, or maybe elevating the level of the work that they're able to do. So putting together a lot of these things, because AI is coming. There are some things that have disappeared already, but the real goal of AI is to make it so the people who are doing the work now don't have to do that process, and they can focus on something that is a higher level thought than what AI is at. Also, we need people to take AI, like take care of it. You can't just say, here's the AI. We might end up in a Terminator situation then.
Hold that thought. We got to take a station break. When we come back, I want to pick back up with that because I see fewer jobs unless you have necessary skill set. If you're just a general worker, I don't know. So I highly suggest people get out there and get trained right now, or have your kids go out there and get trained technology wise. We're gonna take a station break. We got to come back with more of Jordan Colbert. If you want to be part of the conversation, whichever platform that you're watching this on, I promise you ask the question, we'll get it up there, we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
Your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley.
At Viridian Christian University, we believe education is more than just a degree. It's a pathway to a purpose-driven life. Whether you're advancing your career, pursuing a passion, or building a new future, VCU's 100% online programs give you the flexibility to learn on your terms, anywhere, anytime. With expert faculty, personalized mentorship, and a faith-centered approach, you'll gain the skills, knowledge, and leadership you need to make a lasting impact. VCU offers bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degrees, each designed to empower you for success in today's fast-changing world. Join a global community of believers, learners, and leaders. Ready to start your journey? Viridian Christian University, transforming lives, empowering futures. Visit us at ViridianChristianUniversity.com. That's ViridianChristianUniversity.com.
Dr. James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life.
Hi, I'm Dr. Michelle Cooley. Heart disease research saves lives. It's that simple. Thanks to medical advancements funded by the American Heart Association, more women are surviving heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular diseases than ever before. But there's still so much work to do.
Hi, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and I'm raising funds to support life-saving research because every heartbeat is worth fighting for. In honor of Women's History Month, please join me in support of the American Heart Association and women's health.
It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Yeah. Come on.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I am getting educated. I'm enjoying this discussion. And this guest knows that he is invited to the show anytime you want to. I mean, he brings that much knowledge, inspirational, and educate our audience. So, okay, if you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is just go to the platform you're watching us on, ask any question that you might have. I promise you, I'll get you an answer. So, Jordan, I'm going to turn it back over to Michelle, but can you finish up the question or the answer where I asked about people or word in the workspace, because AI, which is rapidly moving in there, and the people that are going to be competing for jobs that don't have the skill sets, and including disabled folks, you don't have the skill set, you're not going to get a job. What would be your recommendation to people that don't understand that right now?
Yeah, it's definitely something that's difficult, like right now, and it's always been a problem throughout history of the next technological advance really replacing the worker. And the interesting thing about that is that we have to adapt, whether it's technology coming out or, these type of AI systems taking jobs. There are many situations where the people who lose their jobs aren't losing them really because the AI or the technology is replacing them. It is in many cases because they're not willing to learn more about the technology or embrace the technology. And that's been difficult throughout the course of human history as we think about it. But now in modern times, what I would say is take advantage of these early opportunities to learn about AI, because there are many states that are offering free programs to really get people credentialed in this, and they're open to everybody in the state. There's a lot of universities that are offering this. LinkedIn Learning is offering a lot of this. And so what I would say, because it definitely is something you worry about, having a job is central to, human life and human existence. And so what I would say is really think about elevating yourself, and don't think about it as this is going to be something hard. This is going to take my time. This is going to take my life up. You have to really think about this as a future thinking idea of this is going to elevate and make me better if I learn to accept and embrace how to use the technology, because then you will have the skill set that's needed to manage this. And in many cases, employers are also, and the government, as they're developing legislation around this, are thinking about that problem of how do we repurpose and reteach skill sets to match what the AI is going to come in and start doing.
Wow. So do you believe that AI systems can be designed so it is totally inclusive and accessible with people to diverse disabilities, whether it's vision, auditory, cognitive, or motor impairments? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do. I think it's going to be very inclusive, and that's the key, designing it to be inclusive. Because when you design something with accessibility in mind and with all of the users in mind, it really does make the system a lot better than having to go back and fix it or having to learn that it is not inclusive. And so something that I'm thinking about in this question that you asked is things with blindness or low vision. So crazy AI that's just recently come out are glasses that have AI built into them. And so something that it can do is now you can take a picture of what's in front of you just by saying, hey, Meta, take a picture. Or you can ask it, what's in front of me? And the AI will tell you there's, a street lamp that says XY crossing street. There's cars, traffic going one way. There's a dog next to you, all kinds of things like that. And so a person who's losing their vision or who may be blind can integrate other systems into that. Like maybe it's a map. You're walking past something and it's telling you what's on the side. So these kind of systems are really cool and coming out, but just thinking about that and how that can change what you're doing in your work, in your day-to-day life, in so many areas.
Jordan, what has been the feedback regarding incorporating AI and accessibility in the education system? Let's say the feedback from the, the administration, the professors on, or do they have any concerns? So can you just talk about both?
Yeah, so in the educational field, across the board, it is becoming that question of academic integrity, and kind of how we talked about it a little bit earlier of like you just put something in and it produces a product for you, where, students can go say, write an essay for this. And professors are really concerned about that because that's a huge issue. Are students really learning and getting the material, or are they just putting it in there or utilizing AI to do all the work for them? And so that's one concern that has popped up across the board. Another concern that has popped up for all institutions, actually, it's probably all things, but the data aspect of it. Because as I mentioned earlier, AI learns from the information that's put into it, the information that's available on the internet. And if information is not publicly available, but you're putting it in this learning system, then that's that company, whatever company it is that creates that program, is essentially getting access to the data that you're giving it. And so in higher education systems where there may be research that's getting done, in public school systems in K through 12, there may be metrics and things like that that are, in certain systems that are specific to this school and could cause massive problems if that data is leaked.
Wow, we got about a minute or two left before we conclude the show. What takeaways do you want to leave with the audience regarding this conversation?
I would like people to recognize that AI is not all bad. It does have some positives in the sense of creating an inclusive environment for people with disabilities and accessibility. And so the big takeaway overall is really, before you pass a judgment about an AI system or about the way that AI, is going to function, take a step and critically think about who is this AI supporting, who is it not supporting, and what does that mean for me as a person using it?
Wow. I tell you what, man, you're incredible.
Thank you, JC.
You're always invited on the show. And
I'll be back.
Looking forward to it, man, because we have to continue to educate our viewers and listeners. As you see, we have grown tremendously since last time you've been on the show. I think last time you was on the show, we had like 150 something subscribers.
Yeah, it was about that, I think.
And right now, as of today, 217,000.
That's incredible growth right there.
At least
that is real.
Yeah, so I want to thank you so much, my friend, for educating us. Remember, you got a standing invitation. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another outstanding show. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners for tuning into the James Cooley Show Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also every Sunday at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on KCBQ, AM 1170 The Answer, FM 96.1 The Answer out of San Diego. And in Dallas, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, AM 660, K-Sky The Answer. Always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. It's your life, and we'll see you then.